focused contest. But like I said, likely to be, I think, contested in the jungle. Whoever wins that jungle, I think, will be able to win the game out.
Oh, definitely. I think the Max Law Rengar against the Impaler Rengar is something I really want to see. Perhaps we might even see it being banned out here by the teams who are into picks and bans. It's Janna from Choke, along with that Gnar, Jinx and Nidalee being banned out here from Infused.
Yeah, they don't want to see Jinx. Obviously, that's becoming more and more a ban that people are prioritizing just because she gets one item, it's like she's got two. So you get the Infinity Edge, and because you're leveling up Pow Pow, you have the attack speed that's basically equivalent to a Zeal. You don't need that Zeal to become as effective as other AD carries. And then you've got the 110% damage from your rockets, which crits. It's absolutely ridiculous. You know, Jinx is just one of these stupid AD carries that needs one item, and suddenly she's almost at late game.
And Chewed Up is known for his Jinx as well. I actually made that mistake yesterday when we were casting. I think it was Toaster playing on the Jinx, and I called him Chewed Up because that's all we really see Chewed Up play. It being banned out against him, I'm not saying he's not good on the other champions, but he is very, very strong on that Jinx. Sejuani banned out against Impaler. He played that in the first game yesterday. Didn't have the best of performances on that champ.
I just think they're banning out in general. Now, what's happened here is they've left Gragas open. It's making Infused think if they need to ban Gragas.
Yeah.
If
and LeBlanc. LeBlanc is the other ban.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of stuff that is being left open here. Hecarim being banned, Gragas could be a first pick here. It is on the table. And Infused saying, take it, we don't care.
Yeah, quite possibly, but Rek'Sai is available as well for Max Law.
Exactly,
here.
yeah.
Rek'Sai, Rengar, Gragas, he's got so many strong junglers he can fall back on. I think
Gragas,
Gragas makes sense, but what Infused have done by leaving the Rek'Sai open, it gives Impaler that little bit of versatility here. Well, it's the sort of, we give the other team a strong pick to pick up a couple for ourselves.
Yeah, so they can get two really strong picks here. They can get Ulfred into LeBlanc, has been left open. They could also pick up Rengar if they really wanted to for Impaler. I mean, obviously, you said Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai the smarter choice, because if you're talking about jungle tiers, you've got Gragas and then Sejuani, then it's Rek'Sai. So, you know, he's basically she is just below Gragas and Sejuani in terms of, you know, sort of upper echelons of jungle play. But they're going to get the Maokai for Xayah. Now, that makes a lot of sense, too. Such a powerful champion for him. He performs so well on it time and time again. And they're going to go for that Toaster's Urgot, which was...
I really like this because Ulfin does play that Urgot in the mid lane as well, gives them a little bit of flex. We are seeing it a lot more in the AD carry role. Toaster played it yesterday to great effect, but I think having that Urgot pick now makes Choke have to make some difficult decisions in this second round of picks.
It kind of changes the way you might want to play the Gragas composition. Now, a lot of people play Gragas with Sivir because you just get that movement speed bonus, and it's all about that hard engage or re-engage positioning that you get from that. But I just have... I'm just checking what's going on, but yeah, that could go into the mid lane. I think it's more likely to go over to Toaster because it kind of goes against hard dive comps, and also if LeBlanc was going to be picked up here, it kind of, you know, having an Urgot on your team is pretty decent against LeBlanc because he has got that self-shielded.
Yeah. I mean, we can see Choke discussing it on screen. They are wondering what they are going to pick up here. They've got a few options available, as you said. The LeBlanc is still available for DX Alchemist. He doesn't tend to play that sort of bursty mid laner as much. Falls back on the Orianna, perhaps the Ahri as well. Used to play that before she got changed. Looks like it's going to be Mundo and Morgana here picked up. So Morgana gives you that safety against the Urgot with the hyperkinetic position reversal in the Black Shield, cancelling that out. And then Mundo taken into the top lane, very, very tanky. Works well against the Maokai as well because you've got that percentage health damage. But I'm not sure how that matchup is going to scale in the mid to late game, Xscoundrel.
Well, essentially, it's a bit of a wet handbag fight on the top. You know, it's basically they're just going to be throwing arcane smashes and cleavers at each other, and it'll stay very standard. The Mundo's fairly gankable in the early stages of the game before he gets that ultimate, but as soon as he hits level 6, there's no way that Maokai is going to kill him, and there's probably no way that Mundo's going to easily kill Maokai either. They're essentially saying we both want pretty hardcore tanks in the top lane, and Mundo does go a little bit better into the late game because of the way he scales with health.
There's the Rek'Sai.
And there is the Rek'Sai coming in for Impaler. They're going to get Ulfrin on Ahri too. Yeah. Really versatile champion in the mid lane, something that Ulfrin is very, very good at. I think we saw yesterday he played Ahri against Ziviz on FM. Yeah. His charms were ridiculous.
The thing was there, Impaler was camping that lane 9 ways to Sunday. He played that Evelynn, had great vision control around the mid lane, and when it was just able to shut down Ziviz in the mid lane for FM. And what I like here from Infused is they've left that Rek'Sai pick for the third round of picks because they know that the Gragas has already been locked in here for Choke. They can prioritize the Maokai and the Urgot, pick the Rek'Sai up later, and it looks like Choke are actually hovering over the Bard here. Now, Bard in solo queue, not that strong. Bard in ranked 5s, if you know how to play him, can be incredibly effective.
we haven't seen him hit the competitive scene much yet. The overriding opinion when he came out was that he was basically trash. I think that's the problem with him, because obviously he requires a lot of coordination to play. He can be incredibly versatile, but they're not going to go for it. They're going to go for the Kassadin, which makes a lot of sense against something like Ahri, because he can just sustain a little bit. He has got that shield, allows him to just shield out some of the damage, and obviously once he gets Rift Walk, can very easily escape her ultimate, won't be picked off time and time again post level 6. Like we saw yesterday when the Orianna was picked up. Did so poorly against the Ahri, because once the flash is burnt on Orianna, she's basically unfortunately like a puppy with a limp leg.
What I really like from Choke is they've picked against this Urgot. What they've said is, yes, you can hyperkinetic position reverser any of us into your team. Ezreal can arcane shift away, Kassadin can rift walk away, Morgana can black shield someone, Gragas can body slam away, or even use the explosive casting in the middle of the team. And Mundo doesn't give a monkeys at all. He's just going to stand in the middle of that team and pop that sadism ultimate, sustain himself up, and then be able to take out all of the members of Infused. Yeah, we've only got Wawa picking the support here at Scoundrel. Janna banned away from him. He played that all of the games yesterday. Do you think he's going to fall back onto that Thresh?
Yeah, so Thresh is obviously something that he does like to play. You've got to think about what fits into Thresh, probably the second support choice for Wawa. But it makes sense in an Ezreal lane. You can still hit that hook even if the arcane shifts. And obviously then you're just going to look to try and push him out of lane with the Urgot. Urgot is a lane bully. That's what he does best. It's an interesting composition coming out from Choke, because it's not something that we've seen them play yet. This is something that's completely off the spectrum from what we've seen from Choke in all of the games previously. Now, like you said, it's a very safe composition. There's so much disengage there for them. A lot of frontline tankiness, and I guess a little bit of burst coming through with the Ezreal and Kassadin. If they manage to isolate, break up the team fight, they have a lot of tools to take someone down easily. The only issue is, the later this goes into the game, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get the damage down, because obviously Kassadin's damage is okay, but he doesn't scale like he used to in terms of AP values. And Ezreal has always been a sort of heavy mid-game champion, unless you're going down that tier route, which is maybe likely, to be honest. But then you're still relying on hitting all of your Mystic shots. I mean, the problem with Ezreal is if you're not hitting your Mystic shots, you're kind of negating a good 25% of the DPS you can put out. So
I think this Choke lineup is really about reactionary play. They're going to wait for Infused to try and start a team fight, wait for Impaler to get in, then pop the explosive cast, rift walk away if they need to, and then try and re-engage the fight. It's about the disengage into the re-engage. Ezreal, a very safe AD carry. The Kassadin in the mid lane very safe as soon as she hits level 6 as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Infused being the aggressors for most of this game and Choke just trying to react to that.
The thing about Ezreal and Urgot is the further you go into the game, they both work in very similar ways. They really, really rely on you being able to hit skill shots to get the majority of your damage down. Those Acid Hunters and those Mystic shots basically work in the same essence. If you're not hitting them, you're not doing your damage. Obviously, Toaster will become a little bit more tanky than Ezreal, but probably the later the game goes, Ezreal will be doing a little bit more damage. What's good about Ezreal and what's good about Urgot is they both want to build tier. So in the laning phase, when they go back for tier, unless something horrendous happens, nothing will change. There won't be a massive power spike loss because you've just invested 700 gold into a tier.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of a pause just at the start of the game, making sure we've sorted out all these issues. I think it was just like a hotkey issue or something like that, so we'll be ready and raring to get onto the Rift. Now, Choke versus Infused, it's a matchup we've seen a few times recently. Choke tend to take it, but Infused, a very strong lineup at the moment. Scoundrel, let's get onto the Rift.
I think it's impossible to say right now who would be taking this series, just because of the way the Infused roster has been so heavily boosted by these two new players. I mean, you saw Impaler just going absolutely ham to the wall yesterday on everything.
Ham to the wall?
Ham to the wall, that's what I like to say.
So you chuck your sandwich against the wall, sticks there, and then you just absolutely decimate the enemy.
Yeah.
Sticky sandwiches.
I was more thinking about the acronym ham, but don't
worry. Oh, ham! Yeah, that makes more sense. Anyway, we are onto the Rift. It's Choke Gaming versus Infused. Let's make some noise, guys. On Choke's side, we'll see Numlocked in the top lane, Max Law playing that jungle role on the Gragas. Alchemist picks up the Kassadin in the mid lane. It's going to be Chewed Up and Zodiac on the Ezreal and Morgana, finishing up that bot lane.
And on the side of Infused, as we have a little pause, I'll give the Infused roster a bit of a rundown. You've got Zazas on Maokai, you've got Impaler playing Rek'Sai, Ulfrin on the Ahri, Toaster and Wawa with the Urgot Thresh bot lane. Looks like standard lane setups are a go too, so you're going to see some very classic League of Legends.
I think we expected the 2v2 matchup here in the bot lane. There's no real reason to lane swap into a Mundo or a Maokai. They're just too strong in that 1v2, and it gives the enemy that much more map presence as well. You don't want Urgot scaling too well. You don't want Ezreal scaling too well as well. People, like as you said, Ezreal's a mid-game champion, but if you go that tier build, you can actually do a huge amount of damage late game.
Definitely, but again, it is relying on you hitting those Mystic shots. It's one of those champions that if you're really good at hitting skill shots, and I know Chewed is a fantastic player, you've got to be making sure you're on point because they can be the make or break in the team fights depending on how much damage you're going to get putting down. But the pick composition from Infused is very, very strong. They've got Maokai, they've got Thresh, they've got Ari, and obviously Rek'Sai works really well with any form of CC going down. So Choke are going to have to really maintain vision, make sure no one gets caught out. The good thing about them is if it's numlocked out of position and scouting and putting wards down, even if he gets caught out, the likelihood is he'll be able to escape very easily. The same goes with Gragas. And actually, probably the majority of the lineup, I think that's very anti-pick coming out, because unless they get blown up in the instant they get caught by a Thresh Hook or a Maokai Twisted Advance, you've got the Riftwalk from Caston, you've got the Arcane Shift.
So many escapes.
You've got the Arcane Shift, another pause, unfortunately.
Sorry guys, we're just a couple of mouse issues. The computers were switched overnight, so the players don't quite have their perfect setups available.
Well, you want those perfect setups.
Definitely.
You're playing for a massive prize pool here, £6,000.
£6,000, it's huge. And it's all credit to ESL, who have done such a good job with this Premiership. It's been really fun watching over the last couple of months how well ESL have just rocketed UK esports into the public stage.
All the hard work of the ESL guys, it's all thanks to them. You know, everyone that works behind the scenes that you probably don't see at the front lines, they are all behind this wonderful stage, this wonderful tournament. They've put a lot of months of hard work into this, and
everything's wonderful at Scoundrel.
Yeah, everything is
it's
wonderful.
All gravy, boys. We are back onto the Rift, and looks like defensive lineups from both these teams. Like, that's what you expect. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. You don't have these level 1 invades really from teams these days, especially since it's quite difficult for these teams to predict what the other team's going to do, especially for Infused, because they've had that roster swap. So they've got Impaler and Zazas in. You don't know how aggressive they want to be in the early game.
Well, yeah, I mean, in professional play, it's a lot harder to get these invades up early on because it's so easy to get blanket vision across the map. So even if you somehow manage to catch something out, you're still going to be finding it very difficult to invade the enemy's jungle because it's so easy to cover vision across the map now. Chewed and Zodiac going aggressive on this Grom. They're going to stop them from taking this one here. Wawa and Toaster. Toaster actually trying to tank this Grom, but taking a lot of damage.
To be careful. Oh, the binding misses. If that binding had hit, that would have been huge. Chewdub's going to take some damage here from the Acid Hunters from Toaster. He's going to have to retreat, but here comes Impaler. The Ignite's down on Toaster. He pumps the heal. The exhaust goes down with the first blood. Goes down to Chewdub. Choke Gaming taking what they can, but Wawa gets the counter kill, and Zodiac needs to be careful now. A nice binding in from him, but Orphan's coming in from the side. What can he do? He's decided to go around the back because Zodiac's going to try and flash away. He does. There's no charm for Orphan. He's only got that Orbital Deception, and they will just back away. But Choke Gaming pick up first blood. Infused get a counter kill.
Yeah, but well in favor of Choke. Look how much they've delayed Impaler's jungle. He's still level 1. He has to go ahead and take this blue buff off the map. He's going to have to be waiting for Smite to,
again.
He's got to wait for Smite to come off cooldown too. This is severely delayed Impaler's jungle, and Zodiac's doing everything that he needs to. He's just putting a slight bit of pressure down. And look at Maxwell. Immediately, he does not care about this. He's saying, right, straight into the jungle, take his red buff away. Let's crush Impaler while we have the chance.
The thing was, Impaler smited the Gromp, both to help out Toaster and Wawa and to get that passive on himself, the gift of the Toadstool.
That strikes me as really odd because it's so often now that these bot lanes will invade to stop the Gromp instead of doing the Krugs, because Gromp is a lot easier to take down because it's just a single unit, whereas the Krugs, sometimes you can take a little bit more damage. So yeah, it strikes me as odd as that they'd risk so much, and you're seeing it from Impaler, he's really starting to struggle now. He's probably going to have to back fairly shortly.
He loses his red buff to Maxwell, who doesn't finish off the camp as well. So he's taking the red, it will delay the timer there for Impaler. And that Rek'Sai jungle is going to be put massively behind. Across the rest of the map, pretty even. Actually, an interesting thing in the bot lane, Chewed picks up the first blood, goes back, picks up his longsword, and the counter kill went across towards Wawa. Thresh, yes, gets tanky to get into the mid-game. A few items will definitely help him out, but you really want that gold on Toaster early game.
Yeah, I mean, Toaster definitely needs to get his mana immune and then needs to get into a Frozen Heart. Once he picks that up, he'll be in a really nice position to deal with Ezreal, because obviously the flat damage from Toaster is really strong. That's why he sort of thrives as an AD carry. Urgot's flat damage is ridiculous. Yeah. That's why you just need that one item and you get a fairly big power spike. And then you can go tanky, because if you're going tanky, you can sustain and just do more damage over a longer period of time, because the other AD carry has a severely, I guess, negated amount of damage going on to you, because that Frozen Heart, for the stats that it provides, is really gold efficient. If you make use of all of those stats, it's probably one of the most gold efficient items in the game. You get the mana to boost your mana immune damage, and then you have a massive amount of armor. It's 99 armor on a Frozen Heart, so it's going to reduce damage by a roughly 25% or so.
Maxwell needs to be careful here. If Impaler did spot him out, the hook not going to connect. He did still have his flash if he wanted to get away from that one. Impaler actually burning his flash earlier on. A nice binding onto Wawa. He'll take some damage from those Mystic shots. Do a lot of damage in the early game. Meanwhile, mid, Alchemist and Ulfrin, you talked a little bit about this matchup. The Null Sphere coming out from Alchemist going to help him so much in this lane against a very strong Ahri.
Yeah, Ahri wants to use her spells to harass as well, so that's just going to further push the Force Pulse stacking up, so just you can get immediate Force Pulse off. And you know, you can trade for free quite a lot with Kassadin. He's going to stop this back as well. I think that was a bit of a bait by Ulfrin, and he wanted to land a charm. But you can kind of basically trade for free in a lot of situations because you can walk up a Null Sphere, and obviously Ahri may react with an Orb of Deception, but all she's going to find, she's taking out a shield as opposed to taking out the health. Right there, you know, it comes down, she doesn't even bother using a spell, just because, you know, Alchemist has that big shield.
You talked a little bit about the handbag fight in the top lane at Scoundrel. Do you think there's a skill discrepancy between Numlocked and Xaxus? Xaxus, of course, has played for Roccat. He's played at the highest level. Do you think that Numlocked's going to find it difficult in this lane? He's a little bit behind on CS already. Do you think he's going to just fall behind?
I think he's definitely giving Xaxus a lot more respect than he would do a lot of other mid lane, top laners that he's played against. But I don't think there's too much of a skill discrepancy. I mean, you know, Numlocked is Masters. He's still fairly high player. I believe he was Challenger for quite a long time as well. So he's definitely at the almost essentially top tier of League of Legends play, and he's fantastic across a multitude of champions. And I think he's giving a bit of respect. He doesn't want to get caught out early on, especially as a Mundo, but now he's level 6, he won't be too bothered.
Look at how long Impaler stayed up here as well. Xaxus doesn't have the Ignite, so he won't be able to shut down this Mundo of the status, in which he does straight away. We do see the engagement from Infused, trying to get onto Numlock, but he will just run away. They take the ultimate away there from him, and he'll have to back away in the lane. But he'll sustain himself up with that Sadism and be able to farm up the lane. But Impaler stayed there for a long time. Yeah, and exactly. And he just hit level 6. That kind of is an indication that it's going to be very difficult to take a Mundo out, especially with Ignite. And it's only a 60-second cooldown on the ultimate. What have you really achieved there? You wasted a lot of time. And now, you know, Numlocked will clear this wave, probably go back, and then he'll have his ultimate by the time he gets back. So they had a few seconds where Xaxus was 6 and Numlocked wasn't 6, but they decided not to quite go in, perhaps Impaler not seeing the opportunity that he would like. Across the board, a very even start to this game. The kill on Chewed Up, obviously picking up that first blood, and the counter kill for Wawa, but I think at the moment, Choke ever so slightly ahead. Yeah, I mean, obviously, what happened to Impaler in the early stages of the game really put Infused a little bit behind, but the key factor here is Maxwell hasn't made much use of that. So Maxwell hasn't gone ahead and started ganking lanes like crazy. In fact, the only gank that we've really seen come out has been from Impaler, the guy who was supposed to have been behind. So, you know, a good recovery, to be honest, by Infused, and maybe an opportunity wasted by Choke. This isn't Season 2. You can get 3 buffed in this meta and still get enough experience from your small camps to keep that level discrepancy down to a minimum. Yes, getting 3 buffed isn't the best thing in the world. It's not something you want to happen to you. But if you can farm up well and actually manage to get a couple of these ganks off, it actually works pretty well. Yeah, actually, Impaler is ahead on experience. I think a lot of it is to do with how long he was in the top lane with Xaxus. He picks up a lot of creep experience. But, you know, like you said, you can very easily catch up on CS differences, and very easily catch up on experience differences in the jungle now. Like you said, it's so easy because how much experience these small camps provide. Especially on someone like Rex, like, who's got a pretty good clear with that green cloth anyway. Yeah, he's level 6 now. He hit level 6 before Maxwell. So really, nothing has been gained by the early invade coming out, apart from just slightly delaying Impaler's impact across the map. But maybe to Choke, that's all they wanted. To Choke, maybe they just said, okay, we know Impaler is very aggressive in the early game. We know Impaler likes to gank mid lane a hell of a lot. And we know that Kassadin is at his weakest 3-6. So let's just shut Impaler down so, you know, Alchemist can get through the laning phase, get to level 6 where he won't be an easy target. We talk a lot about momentum and how teams feel when they play and how you feel when you're in the game. It's very easy for us to look at the game and say, well, the goal's equal, tower's equal, it's probably relatively close. But at the moment, I think Choke probably feel like they're in the advantage. The gold actually is ever so slightly in their favor, but Choke, because of that early jungle pressure, probably feel like they've got this game where they want it. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on how each of these guys want to play the overall structure of the game. So the later this goes, in whose mind do they think that they're going to be better in the later game? I think both of these teams are very solid in the late game. I think it's a hair-breadth difference between which team can come out on top. Alchemist scales well. Ulfrin doesn't scale as well as a Kassadin, but still scales particularly well just because of the CC that he can provide the charm and the catch potential. You know, like we said earlier, Urgot won't scale in terms of damage against Nesville, but he will scale and be able to sustain himself and survive teamfights a little bit longer because of the fact he builds a lot of resistances. So, early Dragon going down here, and Impaler managing to pick that one up.
very quickly.
He spent a lot of time there, made sure he got the vision control, got the scuttle crab for himself as well, picks up the early dragon for his team, and we said this yesterday, the first dragon of the game, at the time you guess it doesn't give you a huge advantage because it's percentage AP and AD that you gain, but he will be able to get that first one and then scale that up into the late game.
Yes.
Getting that first dragon gives you map awareness, gives you the presence around the dragon later on, and the timer as well, which really, really helps you out as you get to these 16, 22-minute fights.
Yeah, well, you just put it like this way, so it does it based off your total attack damage. Yeah. So let's say you get to, I guess, 200 attack damage, and the 6% extra there is going to be about, well, 1%, 10% is 20, so it's about an extra 10, 15 AD, which is
12.
Yeah,
200.
Thank you.
12.
Thank you.
Maths.
Maths is not my strong suit.
Get on my level, mate. I calculated it. I calculated it right there. Impaler's going to come in the mid lane, but the charm doesn't land onto Alchemist. He'll get knocked up. Alchemist does have Ripple. Here comes Maxwell. Orphan's going to go down. A nice explosive cast as well. Knocks Impaler across towards the side. Alchemist can chase this one if he wants. Maxwell gets that Red Buff block off there. So no, Impaler gets slowed by the force pulse. He will knock up Maxwell though and be able to flash away. That flash just coming back off cooldown. So Choke take the second kill for themselves. A great counter gank there in the mid.
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, Ulfrin. That was an immediate great counter gang by Maxwell. He was waiting for that. Really wanted Rek'Sai to commit onto the Kassadin and allow him to get a fantastic body slam. Oh, Alchemist, though. A dive in the mid lane.
A little bit over-aggressive there. Oh, the Ignite onto Impaler will be enough. He's going to go down here.
Yeah.
Nicely done by Zodiac.
But there's a lot, it's a lot burnt just to take out Impaler there, and that's Alchemist giving up a kill. Flash, Ignite, and ultimate down from Zodiac, but Zodiac does pick up the red buff, which could be useful maybe in the bot lane. We'll have to see.
Morgana is actually quite auto-attack dependent in the bot lane. You can get quite a lot of damage off with those. It's a bit like Annie as well before she was changed to 5.9. Those auto-attacks do a huge amount of damage. You can actually build AD in the early game on Annie just to get as much damage down as you want. But Ulfin will be a little bit disappointed with how he played that mid lane fight. He probably should have expected the counter gank. They didn't have vision control. It choked actually great vision around this mid lane river towards the bottom side of the map, but Ulfin does still have his flash up, so we'll feel a little bit hard done to getting ganked like that.
Yeah, the thing about Morgana in the bot lane is her attack range is what you consider a standard caster attack range. It's slightly below 80 carries. It's about Urgot's attack range, really, but it's still high enough. Oh wow, that was interesting.
Gets rid of the hyperconnect position reverse, but Chewed Up goes very low with the box. He's going to heal, but here comes Numlocks. Here comes Zazas as well. Wow, as the target, he flashes away, but the True Shot Barrage still hits. And there is the damage onto Chewed Up. He won't quite get taken down. Numlock does pick up the kill. Chewed Up gets the one off towards the side. Explosive cast. This is there from Maxwell, but we will see Toaster going down, and Zazas and Impaler must retreat here because it's 4v2. And we saw Toaster and Wawa getting taken out there only for Chewed Up on the side of Choke.
That was really, really odd because the Black Shield was up. For Morgana, so the hyperkinetic position reverser came down, but the Black Shield has been up for a good 2 seconds. Maybe they thought it was going to come just off cooldown.
Well, the hook hit just before the hyperkinetic position reverser, so I think they thought the hook would burn it. Alchemist actually going aggressive onto Ulfin. He'll try and get some counter damage down, but Alchemist already has that Rod of Ages. He's going to just start stacking himself up towards this mid-game power spike. Probably have that completed about the 23-minute mark.
This is a bit of an old-school Kassadin build because when we've seen Kassadin recently in competitive play, a lot of Korean players go blasting one first and then go into an Abyssal Scepter. Yeah. So when you jump in, you're applying that Abyssal Scepter passive, and then you're starting to shred people down just through the fact that you can get in and use the Netherblade, which is actually probably a major source of Kassadin's damage in the sort of the earlier mid-game portions of the game.
Especially since they have 3 APs on their team as well. Mundo does magic damage, Gragas of course does magic damage as well. Ezreal does a little bit as well.
Yeah, Ezreal is mixed. Ezreal is mixed.
I'm a little bit surprised he doesn't go for the Abyssal Scepter as you say, but if you can get that early Rod of Ages, it definitely helps you scale into those mid-game fights.
Yeah, I mean, it would have made a lot of sense potentially going for that Abyssal Scepter. Maybe he'll be going for it next, but the Rod of Ages is kind of like a snowball item. When you're doing well and you can afford it, it really pays dividends if you can get it early. And like we said, a very early Rod of Ages coming out here. 2 stacks already, that means it'll be finished by 22 minutes. Really nice time to have a fully stacked Rod of Ages.
Definitely is. Ulfin struggling a little bit in the mid lane against this casting, keeping up his CS though, so he'll be quite happy. Oh, he steals away the Razor Beak. Nicely done by him. Pops that over deception across the wall. There wasn't actually much vision on him.
There was no vision, if I was unaware.
Yeah. I think there might be a little ward. Oh no, it's a tunnel in this bush. But yeah, no vision. Nicely done by him just to expect Max Lord there. And once again, we see Impaler trying to get vision around this dragon area. The dragon will be up in a minute, so he's going to put some pressure down, get those deep wards in, and then look to take that second dragon of the game here for Infused.
Yeah, Zazas is just playing pretty carefully in the top lane. Numlock coming in here, and Maxwell coming through too. They're going to go aggressive.
Yeah, but Zazas can actually put the bolt onto Maxwell. He does get knocked up by that knockback, and here goes Zazas. The explosive cast comes out. There's the cleaver onto him. He's going to try and arc and smash them back. He has got flash. Pops the righteous glory to get away, and then flashes across the wall. Nicely done by Zazas to get away. But that is his flash down, with Dragon coming up within the minute. Means that Infused have to be a little bit more careful about trying to take those river fights.
Yeah, and he's not got teleport either in a big wave to deal with at the top lane. So I think it'll be very difficult here for if Choke know the timer of Dragon, and if Choke have the vision control on it, they've only got a singular ward, it'll be difficult.
Going to be a dive in the bot lane here. Shoot takes some damage from the Acid Hunter. Here comes Impaler. The binding does connect. The Toaster tanking the tower. It's not what you want. Hyperkinetic position reverse. The Poster puts him in a bad position. He might go down, hit to the tower. One more shot will be enough. And he does. Zodiac gets the Soul Shackles off onto Wawa and Impaler. There's the Ignite, but Wawa not tanking the tower. Zodiac gets exhausted. The Ignite has gone down onto him. Here comes Ulfrin though. Zodiac's going to get taken down so quickly. Wawa goes down to Alchemist, and here is the chase. Ulfrin already quite low. The Netherblade comes out. Max still trying to get onto them as well, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He will before getting the charm hits. There's the Orb of Deception, but there's the kill onto Ulfrin. He goes down. Impaler gets knocked back as well. He'll tunnel his way away. But a nice little roam there from the mid laner and the jungler from Choke.
Infused are playing so aggressively, and they're not in a position where they can easily do that. You've got a Castan who can roam very easily too, and you've got essentially a jungler that can counter gank incredible standards. Going for a tower dive and against an Ezreal who can reposition, and a Morgana who can
shield. What are you doing?
Exactly, the black shield it helps AD carries survive these kind of dives all the time. I'm not quite sure what's going through in Infused minds. I think they're just saying we want to kind of push them out. We want to push our advantage.
We're setting for the Dragon, and they're like, if we can get a couple of kills in this bot lane, even one kill, we can do this Dragon straight away. They went over aggressive. They didn't respect Max Law. They didn't respect Alchemist's drone potential. They will pick up this Dragon because they got that vision control.
No, Max Law's coming in.
Scrying Law comes out. Here comes Max Law. He's going to try to spider away, but Impaler does get it. True Shot Burrow's going to hit on him, and he'll get taken out with that Netherblade. Alchemist can chase, but Ulfrin lands the charm onto Max Law. Not the target you want. Wawa will back away. And meanwhile, let's have a look to see if Toaster can get out of this one. Chewed Up is there. The minions coming in though, and Toaster has got that Acid Hunter onto Chewed Up. Are they going to dive? And Maxwell's coming in as well. Toaster trying to clear that wave as quickly as he can. Does have the heal though. Can he bait mate? I don't think he can. I rate it 4 out of 10. And it's not going to be enough. Maxwell will pick out the kill. And that was nicely done there by Choke.
Yeah, 4 out of 10. Maybe
it wasn't the best mate.
Maybe 6 out of 10 with Rice. But no, they're going to take that is how to do a dive. When there is a singular member near a tower and nothing to protect him, he's already low enough to be taken to the floor. So, yeah, I mean, that was a great dive. A nice management of tower aggro. Infused didn't have that management of tower aggro when they went for the dive on the Chewed Up.
Like, Toaster tanked it. He tanked the first couple of shots.
Yeah.
Hyperkinetic position reverses himself into the tower, like on top of it, and it was like, oh, I can tank. No, you died. Towers do damage, Toaster.
Yeah. Exactly, and that's...
He got burnt.
Yeah, he did.
He left it on for too long. It's just not good times for him.
No. Turning up burnt toast right now, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, essentially, Infused are making these decisions that just, they don't have the capability to back them up. Like that tower dive is a tower dive you'd make when your AD carry is like 4-0.
Ulfrin's going to get dived here under tower. He lands the charm once more, but this is what I like from Alchemist. The Rod of Ages gives him that tankiness.
Yeah.
He gets the extra health. True Shot Barrage! That's the new name for it. True Shot Barrage.
Yeah, there we go.
Sounds like the French. Oh, the True Shot Barrage. It is coming into the mid lane. The hook will land onto Alchemist. He does have Ripple, but Impaler's going to knock him up. Alchemist not tanking the tower. Will get some damage down. The binding lands on Impaler as well. They will back away. Here comes Maxwell though. Are they going to go deep? No, they're not. They decide against it. Decide that is too deep for them at the moment. Maybe later we'll see how things go. But Choke is going to try and push down at this mid-lane tower.
Yeah, they're going to try and push this one out. They've got good siege potential with those Dragus barrels, even though obviously he's not going to be going an AP route. Those barrels are still good for zoning out of tower ranges, and obviously they can then dive pretty deep. But there we go, Maxwell getting caught out by Impaler.
Oh, but the binding again onto Impaler. Wawa misses the hook. Here comes Ulfrin, misses the charm. There is a lantern in the middle if he wants to get away. Click the lantern, click the lantern. The Spirit Rush comes in, and here comes Zazas onto Zodiac, and Zodiac will get taken down by Zazas and Ulfrin and the rest of Infused. They have lit the flame here. They've lit the spark. The flash by Toaster. He pushes himself into the middle of them all. Maxwell gets taken down. It's a double kill for Ulfrin. I got a little bit overexcited there. I thought we were going to have a triple, and that would be the best thing I've seen in the history of Dota.
Yeah, exactly. what are these dank memes about today? But anyway, no, that was that's how the Infused guys want to play their composition. They're just going to look for picks, and that's what they need. They made some good picks there. They've got the composition that works for it entirely. You know, you've got Twisted Advance that picked off one, then you had in Toaster with a hyperkinetic position reverser picking off another, and the charms left, right, and center. Really great play by
the picks are so good, it's almost like they have a Lulu on their team.
I'm just meeting that with
silence. It's just silence. Oh, sorry. Not quite good enough there. Chewed Up is going to try and push them back in the mid lane, but Toaster has got that Mana Moon already. There's a Mana Moon on Chewed Up as well on that Ezreal, building towards the Trinity Force. Who do you think has the better mid game, an Ezreal or an Urgot? Because they're pretty even on kills.
I would say the Ezreal, just because of the way he synergizes with the Trinity Force. It's just really powerful in the Mystic shots, and especially with the Mana Moon, maybe going towards a Mura Mana in that kind of stage of the game too. It's really, really giant power spike for Ezreal, so we'll have to see how Choke decide to play it. They're not that far ahead. Infused with those picks have put themselves a little bit further back into the game. They've picked off that mid lane turret, can start to get some deep vision on the Choke side jungle, and then start to make more picks. Now this really opens the game up for Infused right now. What they want to do is take that mid lane turret down. They want to get wards on the blue and red side jungle of Choke, try and light it up, try and maintain the vision control there, and then invade and look for picks, because the place a lot of players get caught out is in their own jungle. They feel relaxed in their own jungle because it's their side of the map. And you don't quite realize when you have a Maokai and an Ahri sitting in a brush waiting to kill you.
And Impaler with that Void Rush as well. If he puts a couple of good tunnels in the enemy jungle, he can definitely get into those fights. And it's like having another teleport on your team, which things... Actually, we saw Infused getting burnt by teleports yesterday against FM. That Hecarim teleporting in with the home guards was so strong. Perhaps we'll see Choke having to be a little bit more careful, a little bit more defensive, as you say, against this Infused lineup, especially since Dragon's coming up in a minute and a half.
Yeah, and obviously the great thing about Rek'Sai is he can be the top side of the map. He can be in his own jump.
Rek'Sai is a woman.
Yeah. We've had this conversation. We've had this conversation several times. You've said it as well.
Use your proper pronouns.
Yesterday we had Rek'Sai's been locked in. He's a great champion from Sona, so it takes one to know one, right? But anyway, yeah, Rek'Sai can be across the entirety of the map and get immediately down to Dragon with some well-placed tunnels. So that's what's so good about them. A lot of junglers get caught out by going to top lane, and then the other jungler takes Dragon. Well, not Rek'Sai. She can just move across the entirety of the map in a couple of seconds.
That she can. Zaza's going to try and defend this top lane tower against the ever-pushing Mundo here from Numlock. Warmog's armor and Spirit Visage completed on him, so he's scaling up to that mid and late game tank, which is what we tend to see from Mundos. I was going to talk about this a little bit in picks and bans. He's gone Teleport Flash. Some Mundos recently we've seen going for that Smite Teleport.
No, the problem with that is that it sounds great because Mundo uses a lot of health. Yeah, so the Cinderhulk Mundo uses loads of health. It sounds really great. But Ulfrin.
Damage onto Ulfrin, but he lands another charm. Alchemist can chase it. Ripple comes in, True Shot, but we're going to connect. Alchemist gets ignited. He's going to go quite low. The teleport's coming in here, and Alchemist will go down. Twisted Advance. No, he won't. The shields, the heals, the everything. They're going to keep Alchemist alive. Wawa's going in though, and Ulfrin backing away towards the back, and Zazas is going to go down. Gets taken out by Zodiac, and what can they chase? Can they get another kill on Wawa? He has to flash away, but meanwhile, Toaster's coming from the side. What are you doing? Where's your positioning? You're going to get burned. He goes down. You either love him or you hate him. It's a bit like Marmite, and he will be hated there by the Choke lineup. We're now going to rotate round towards this Dragon. Ulfrin has decided not to back away. He stayed around. Toaster and Zazas are down, though. Do you think Infused are going to fight over this Dragon?
No, I don't even know what just happened there. That was really interesting positioning from Toaster. When I say interesting, I mean bad. It was in the wrong side of the riverside, and he just thought, oh, well, you know, I'll just YOLO ultimate into the middle of their team, and then something
up. He has got the Arcane Shift, but Ulfrin's here. Here comes Impaler, tunnels across the wall. He hasn't got the flash up, but he has got the knock up. Here comes Wawa. There's the Black Shield. The hook misses, and Chewed Up turns it round. Ulfrin across towards the side has to back away because there was a Numlock trying to get onto that Ahri. They will just back away. 12 kills to 7 here. Excalibur Choke Gaming once again taking that 3,000 gold lead.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice bit of play, and unfortunately it was so difficult. Obviously, Alchemist escaping in the mid lane was a key factor into the success of that team fight, but yeah.
How did he get away? There was Mikhail's
shield
and the Nullsphere heal.
The Nullsphere shield. So he Nullsphere shield himself, he uses the black shield, and also he had the Mikhail's pop for him. It was really good.
Look at the damage onto Ulfrin. He tries to Spirit Rush away. Alchemist can chase, though. Another Spirit Rush does come out, and Ulfrin will get away towards safety. There's a Luden's Echo and a fully stacked Rod of Ages on that camp.
So this is exactly what they want to do against the Ahri. If every time Alchemist uses his Rift Walk, which is a 3.85 second cooldown, he burns the Ahri ultimate, then they're just going to be such a good position in team fights, because, you know, Ahri ultimate is almost essential for repositioning and picking people off on the outside of teamfights. If Alchemist can just say 3.5 seconds, burn your ultimate, then, you know, that's basically a massively won matchup in that mid lane. Despite being 3 and 2 on the Ahri, you know, forcing her to use her ultimate defensively every single time without fail is a massive, massive bonus for Choke.
Can Infused hold this inner tower in the mid lane? Toaster coming in from the side, and we see Xaxus trying to hold back the push here. True Shot Blast comes out and puts some damage down with Open. He's not tanky at all. Not what you like. You're not going to get tankiness on Ahri, but I wouldn't have been surprised if we saw him picking up an Abyssal Scepter against his very heavy AP team.
And like I said, I was expecting it to have come out at some point on either team earlier, but obviously that's not the case here right now. And I think the way that Alchemist is played and the way that
Here we go. Righteous Glory, they're going to go in. Impaler from the side. Alchemist the target. Hyperconnected position reverser puts him in the back line, and Ulfri's going to take him down. He does go down this time. Zodiac goes out as well. A nice stun with the Soul Shackles. Maxwell still here. Toasted off towards the side. Will get taken out by Chewed-Up, who's exhausted. And Infused are trying to win this fight. They're ahead in members, but they're behind in damage.
What a great hook.
What a hook from Wawa. Locks down Chewed-Up, and he'll get spat out here by the Infused team. Number will flash across the wall, and Infused take the fight. They were so close to losing out on that one, but the hook from Wawa.
And
it's Hook City, ex-Scoundrel.
We promised you a close game, and this
Holy
is
moly.
a close game. They're going to go straight for Baron
There's
as
no
well.
teleport on Numlocked as well, which is so good here for Infused.
Yeah, and there isn't actually much vision, but they know that they're there because they've seen the ward in that river. That entire fight was because Alchemist was far too far up towards the front line of Infused. He thought, I'm 3-1 and 4. I've got a load of health from Rod of Ages. I'm actually really quite fed at this moment in time.
Oh, the hook onto Maxlaw. Gragas, you might be a good jungler. Maxlaw's showing his stuff, will actually be able to escape. I thought he was going to go down.
He stopped the Baron. He stopped the Baron as well.
That was so well done.
Yeah.
Like, he got hooked. True Shot Barrage not going to connect. That was so close. And Ulfrin has to pop the Spirit Rush to try and get away. Zazu popping down the sapling to keep his mid laner safe. Infused have to stop the Baron, and even though Choke lost that last team fight, Maxlaw showing us why he is challenger, why he's masters at the moment, but why he wasn't. That's a bit of bad camera work there. Why he was challenger, because he stopped that Baron so well here and kept Choke in this game.
A lot of it was because the threat of the steal was still there, because Maxlaw was obviously alive and kicking. And obviously, I think Infused were just struggling to burst that Baron down as quick as possible. They thought, okay, we take out Maxlaw, that's just a pick for us and we can stop the Baron. Obviously, Maxlaw escaping was fantastic, and then obviously he stopped the Baron solo. He just said, I'll throw the barrel in there, I'll try and put the pressure on to say I'm here to steal. Wow, I hit a great hook. Yeah, no doubt about it. The Flay wasn't so good following up. He didn't manage to stop the body slam. If he'd stopped that body slam, Maxlaw would have been dead. And that's what's so great about League of Legends. It's a game of millimeters. If you're millimeters out on your positioning of your Flay, then, you know, a guy survives. You probably lose a fairly big advantage in the game too, because they just lost a tower, probably all from that singular play.
Interestingly, we actually see a Last Whisper picked up here. Ulfrin has the Spirit Rush away. He will get away towards safety. A Last Whisper instead of the Frozen Heart being picked up as a second completed item on Toaster. Why do you think that is?
A Last Whisper instead of a Frozen Heart?
Instead of a Frozen Heart on Toaster.
Yeah, I think he just wants the damage. He wants to be able to take out Maxlaw and take out Mundo, who will just be running straight at him. There's not a lot of armor to go up against, but Mundo will eventually build armor and probably stack armor quite heavily. So Toaster is going for a Frozen Heart, but hasn't finished it. Maybe he thinks that the Glacial Shroud armor is enough at this point in time. And to be honest, when you're going up against this pretty heavy AP composition, I would agree with him. You know, you don't necessarily need the Frozen Heart right now, but it only provides the cooldown reduction. Yeah, you're not going to go on that hook.
I think the thing is as well, Toaster as Urgot has a lot of passive armor penetration in this kit.
Yep.
So if you get the Last Whisper as well, you're burning through that 30% of the enemy's armor, along with all of your passive armor debuffs coming out from your kit. It can be very strong.
Yeah, he also reduces damage, obviously. That's what's really great about Urgot, his passive. You know, in a 1v1 duel scenario, if he's basic attacking you, your damage is reduced by 15% for 2.5 seconds. So that's why a lot of people pick him, because he can actually trade with any AD carry, and obviously the return damage will be 15% less. But like I said, you know, the need for the Frozen Heart isn't so strong in this game, because the only AD threat, in most senses of the word, is Ezreal. Yeah. And so he's just going to live off the cooldown reduction from the Glacial Shroud, and then maybe later go towards the full Frozen Heart. He could even maybe go for a... he could even potentially go for an Iceborne Gauntlet. I mean, I wouldn't suggest it, and he doesn't look like he's going for it, but you know, that could have still been on the cards just because of how little he really needs the armor at this point in time.
I think the mana as well coming out from that.
Yeah, the mana's really solid.
Frozen Heart is pretty strong. You do get some passive mana from Sheen, of course, but I think it's just the little bit of tankiness on Toaster. We've seen earlier on his positioning sometimes is a little bit awry, so if you can get that little bit of extra tankiness and become almost a semi-tank for your team, so you'd be the third tank. Very strong. Dragon is up here. Was started by Choke. True comes across Wawa. Alchemist absolutely bursts Ulfrin down. True lands a great missing shot. The explosive cast comes out of Wawa, trying to kite back, but here comes Alchemist. Hard to connect with Roberta onto him. He's going to get the kill onto Wawa. Impaler just pick up True Toaster and Wawa versus Alchemist and Numlock. They're hooked onto Numlock, but Toaster won't get away from this one. Zaz is coming in. We do see Numlock picking up the kill on Toaster. Impaler and Zaz's against the world here, and you might be LCS boys, but you're not going to coast to victory this time. Zazas has to back away. He'll flash away towards the wall. Choke Gaming do what they can. The Void Rush used just to get Impaler across towards safety. Choke Gaming pick up a great team fight there. 3 kills for 1. Chewed did get taken down by Impaler, but not before Infused lost their mid laner and their entire bot lane.
Solid pun / 10 out of 10 DM right there towards Impaler. Oh dear. Just been like a little bit of inside info for the lobby. The entirety of the Choke lineup had the Coast flare as their flare in the lobby. It was quite funny. But no, I mean, right now, you saw how that teamfight went down. The resources from Infused, all of the frontline tanky members that can lock people down, they committed practically everything to Ezreal, who had a whole host of healing and break away from CC like the Mikhails and everything.
Shield Mikhails.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Strong.
He had everything thrown onto him that it took us such a long time for Impaler and Zazas to take him down that they just let Alchemist in the backline go crazy. Alchemist killed.
Alchemist jumped onto Ulfrin and did 2/3 of his health in one combo. Yeah,
2/3 of his health in one combo, finished him off, then went 1v1 versus Toaster, and because Alchemist is pretty fed at this point, he's got a high amount of AP, he picked off 2 for 1. And you saw the difference in the team fights. When Infused catch Alchemist, Infused seem to win the team fight. When they commit that much to Chewed Up, it's not the same way. It doesn't work the same way. They're really struggling to win these team fights when Alchemist is let to free roam in the backline. And I think Infused will realize that, and probably in the next few team fights, you'll probably see Zazas single-handedly targeting Kassadin every single time.
Against this Choke lineup, you can't fight in those small corridors as well. Mundo is so strong there because it's so much easier to hit cleavers. You've got explosive cast, you've got Alchemist who can jump around walls as much as he wants, and then Ezreal and Morgana who are very, very safe. Like, Ulfrin got burst down, the explosive cast was good, and Choke Gaming were able to clean it up from there. It looks like they're starting to position towards this Baron. It's not a bait as such, it's just trying to make Infused have to make difficult decisions. It's what we talked about yesterday. It's all about forcing your opponents into playing your game rather than letting them be comfortable.
Yeah, if you put the pressure on Baron, Infused have to react to it. And obviously, when you want to fight, that's the best thing you can do. If someone has to react to where you are and you want to get a force of 5v5, you go to Baron, you clear the vision, and you just wait for them to come to you. Yeah. If they don't come to you, you just take Baron. It's a win-win situation in most cases.
No vision at all in this Baron area. No river vision at all for Infused. And Choke have started up the Baron. It's only Numlock and Maxwell. They are quite tanky, so they can tank it up for a bit while they scout out what Infused are going to do for reactions. But Impaler with that Tremor Sense, his passive spotting out Maxwell and Numlock as they started that up, so Infused will rotate up towards the top lane. Try and put some pressure onto Alchemist and Chewed Up, but I like this from Choke. They put the 2 people who have the easiest escapes, split pushing a lane, and then they rotate round and start up this Baron once more.
Yeah,
or they clear out the wall.
Zazas is just going to start the Baron, force them to take some damage here. Obviously, all the damage that a Baron does is actually magic damage. Yeah. So you can shield it with Black Shield, which is really a little interesting point.
Next level, man. Yeah, and he has spells as well, so you can shield spells.
You can shield the spells too. Well, the effects of the spells.
Yeah. So if you're playing Sivir and you want some mana before a team fight, run up to Baron, auto it once, shield a spell, GG.
Yeah, exactly. It's really solid. And actually,
I wouldn't recommend
you can do that to you can do that to Dragon as well if you time it right. Yeah. And the Dragon's burst ability, it pops spell shields like Sivir's and gives you the mana back. So little handy hint there if anyone didn't realise.
Just don't do it though. Because if you pop your spell shield before a big fight, that's probably not the best.
Well, no, not immediately before a big fight. Let's say you're out of mana and you want to fight, then yeah, sure.
And we do see Choke once more standing around this Baron pit, Chewed Up, and the rest of the gang, seeing what they can do.
They're trying to clear vision. They're trying to make sure that if they can...
The problem is, Impaler's nowhere near this. There are a couple of tunnels nearby, but it would take them quite a lot of time to actually get into one of these tunnels and then join the fight. And Infused are standing there with 3 members. Zazas gets caught out by the binding, but he's quite tanky. They will just back away. I kind of like this from Infused, putting Impaler split pushing because he has a bit more damage than Zazas would, a bit more pushing of the lane. But the problem is, if the tunnels are well cleared out by Choke, Impala's going to find it difficult to join the fight as quickly as he'd like. Exactly. Oh, they're going to go to Maxwell, but just before he's been popped there, onto Zazza. So Maxwell gets the damage down, and Zazza will have the lantern there. Will he be able to get away? He can't click the lantern. Click it. He's not going to be able to open. Locked out by Nomlock from the back line.
There he gets it at the end.
The lantern. Zazza isn't going to survive though. Zodiac picks up the kill. Open there. Impala finally joining the fight. Nomlock's going to take some damage. A nice hook onto Maxwell. We do see Alchemist going down, and this is where Infused might be able to take the fight. Toaster still has about a third of his HP, but chewed up is full on HP and mana and damage, and he'll pick up Ulfrin. Takes him down for a nice tasty morsel. The Fox is taken out there by chewed up, and Infused have to back away once more. Impala took so long to join that fight.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even bother going to that tunnel on the top side because he knew it would be a very similar time difference to actually just walking there, or burrowing there, I would rather say. But I've got to be honest, that actually wasn't too bad of a fight for Infused because you saw how quickly Alchemist got focused out. Zazas was probably delaying clicking the Lancing because he knew that the majority of Choke were wandering round to try and catch him out if he did click it. So that obviously you saw Alchemist move over to the area where the Lantern was coming from, and as soon as Alchemist showed himself in that area, that's when the Lantern was clicked, and that's when they focused down Alchemist. That was a nice play by Infused, but obviously chewed up in the back line was able to do the damage that he needed to do, and he's got the Blades of the Ruin King too, so he's getting to a position where he's really scary as well. You know, now you've got Alchemist and chewed up who are both incredibly scary, and you saw there they tried to deal with Alchemist. But now chewed up's in a position where if you leave him alone, he can probably carry the team fight. It's a lose-lose situation it's becoming a lose-lose situation for Infused now.
Started as Baron, Impala will ward across the wall to spot them out, and chewed up's going to clear out that ward. Does take some damage from the Baron himself, but hasn't got that Blade of the Ruin King, so he'll be nice healing himself up. Oh, here comes Zazas. It looks like Infused want this fight. Mundo's not there, but he does have teleport if he wants to join. He doesn't have that flash available. Impala pushes forward. Infused seeking their prey, seeing what they can do. Zodiac's going to take a lot of damage. The Acid Hunters are on him. He's going to go down here. Has to pop the cards himself. Chewed up is not with the fight. Maxwell comes across towards the side of the explosive cast. Chewed up is the target here for Infused. Impala and Zazas there. Meanwhile, Alchemist jumps in with the Zonias. He's going to go down. The hook lands onto Numlock. Alchemist will walk away along with the flash, but he's getting chased down with those Acid Hunters. Numlock, there's no escape for him here. He hasn't got flash. He hasn't got anything. He hasn't got a life along, and Numlock will get locked down there by Toaster. Oh, Infused win the fight. What a fight.
This is true to English style.
Hey, it's Dignitas. True to Diggy you. Baron throw after Baron throw.
Dignitas is a UK organisation, and true to UK style, everyone likes to throw much Baron. Unfortunately, I don't know why they started that Baron there. You know, they were moving around the Baron pit. Rek'Sai can obviously see you with his tremor senses, or see you with her tremor senses while she's underground. If you're moving in the Baron pit, he will see tremors in the Baron pit, and you're going up against a full Infused roster. No one was dead. It was so risky. It's like, we just cleared some wards. We're definitely not doing it, guys. Don't come and check. But no, yeah, bit of a throw by Choke at Baron there. And we're finally going to...
It's kind of a throw, but also Infused were in the game. It wasn't like...
Yeah.
Ulfin's going to go in here, Alchemist the target, but Ulfin split from the rest of his team. Teleport coming in from Numlock. He does have his teleport getting to that fight. Toaster's going to take some damage from the True Rod. Numlock doing what he can. Warwood's going to go very low. Will get taken out. It's a double kill for Alchemist, and they're going to chase onto Zazas from Toaster. I'm not sure they can chase this one down for too long. There isn't a mid lane tower, of course, but a nice arcane slash from Zazas. Going to knock two back. Toaster getting damage down where he can, but the binding will land on the tree. He gets explosive cards back, tries to push the advance away, but Zazas gets taken out. And it's fight after fight after fight. Choke Gaming Infused. Who's going to win? No one knows. But it's very, very close.
I'm holding my head.
You're holding your head.
I'm holding my head in my hands right now because both teams are so determined to throw around these objectives. And that was a bit of a misplay from Ulfrin, if I'm completely honest. He used that Spirit Rush and isolated himself. And that's exactly what Alchemist wants to see. He wants to see a stray Ahri on the side of a team fight where he knows he can Rift Walk in and he's not going to get locked down by a Maokai Twisted Advance. They've given up the inhibitor for that. Now, if we talk about this from the Baron side of things, Baron over to Infuse, but now Choker picked up an inhibitor. That's like a time-old trade. And looks like Choke wants to take this dragon, but Infuse are reacting to it. Are we going to see yet
has TP.
Are we going to see yet another team fight here?
Nah, Baron's dragon's going to go down too quickly. Impala trying to get around it, but not going to be there. Ulfrin's still off towards the bottom side of the map, so won't be able to get there too soon. But I think what we've seen in both of these fights is the teams are very good at picking off someone if they miss position.
Yes.
In the first fight, Chewed Up and Zodiac mispositioned. They went up towards their blue buff instead of going down with the rest of their team.
Yep.
And they were taken out very quickly. And then there we saw Ulfrin just, he went in. He spin rushed in and was like, oh yeah, I can take someone. And didn't realize Alchemist was across the wall. And just got absolutely destroyed by the 8-3 Kassadin coming out here from the Choke Gaming mid lane. Zonya's Ludens Echo fully stacked Rod of Ages along with those Sword Boots, so going to have a huge amount of damage.
The difference between these two teams right now is if you miss position on the map or you miss position more openly before a team fight, that's when Infused can take advantage of it, because they've got so much CC that can happen, you know, to start a team fight off, as we saw with Zodiac in that fight where they got completely destroyed. The difference with the choke lineup is if you miss position inside a team fight where things are more hectic, i.e. Ulfrin isolating himself, that's going to spell basically, oh, a tasty kill for me, and Alchemist will just rip walk in and do exactly what he's been doing all game, chunking Ulfrin down to when he's almost useless. So these teams have such intricacies to the way they want to play these team fights that it's going to be won on a margin of millimeters here.
Yeah. I love these team fights. In the mid and late game, when everyone's got their ults, everyone's got their summoners, they are so electric, and we've seen that in this game. Team after team, or both of the teams keep going into these fights thinking, yeah, we can take it, we can win. Not quite able to do it every single time. It's 21 kills to 15 for Choke. It's only 1,000 gold the difference, though. A lot of that's sitting on the mid lane because Ulfrin has almost 100 CS up on Alchemist.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's easier for an Ahri to farm than a Kassadin. Kassadin has only one AoE spell, which is obviously that Force Pulse, which requires time to stack up, and that's not going to do anywhere near as much damage as a fully or a high AP Orb of Deception. So, you know, despite the kill difference, I think the gold will be, you know, moderately similar. Yeah, in fact, actually, Ulfrin is ahead on gold, despite how Alchemist has played and how good he's been. Ulfrin is ahead on gold because 100 CS now. In terms of CS to kills, when you think about it this way, 20 CS is equivalent to the gold you get for a kill.
Oh, Chewed Up gets hurt. Ulfrin's going to go in. There's a Spirit Rush. Chewed Up way out of position. The charm doesn't land, but he gets taken out. And
this is what I was talking about.
It's just a little bit mispositioning. A good hook from Wawa. Chewed Up not expecting it. Had his flash, had his arcane shift. Like, come on, man. What are you doing there?
This is what I was talking about. You miss position on the map, that's where Infused take advantage. You miss position in team fights, that's where Choke take advantage. And that was a complete, I guess, misposition too far at the mid lane from Chewed Up. He did have his arcane shift, he probably could have dodged that hook. He did have his flash, probably could have flashed away from that. And they may even give up an inhibitor for that one tiny misposition in the mid lane.
What do you think of Alchemist's build here? He's decided to go Void Staff instead of going for Rabadons. Do you think that's the right choice, or do you think he might have been better suited by that full AP damage?
Well, Kassadin's AP scalings are good, but they're not the most ridiculous in the game. I actually quite like the Void Staff. You're going up against the Locket of the Iron Solari, you've got high health values that you need to get through, the Spirit Visage is there.
Ulfrin's building towards that Abyssal Scepter as well. So
yeah, exactly. So I quite like the Void Staff, actually. It's going to be I think, Black Cleaver now, Toaster on Urgot, which makes a lot of sense. He wants to start chunking through the armor that's being built up.
Hook onto Zodiac. They're going to get the charm in. And
wow.
Ulfrin gets the kill. Maxwell pops out the explosive charge, but look at the damage onto Alchemist Sponsor Zonius. He's got Rip Walk up when he comes back up. Will he be able to escape? No, he won't. Impaler takes the kill. Maxwell gets hooked again.
Great play.
Going into Maxwell. A superb play, and Chewed Up does actually pick up Wawa, but that's only the support. Zaza standing in the tower for ages will flash away and survive, but it's 3 members of Choke going down for only 1 of Infused. It's only the support. They get the tower, Baron up in a minute and a half, Dragon up in about 3.5 minutes as well. What can Infused take off this?
Well, not too much by the looks of it. They're going to have to back off and just be happy with what happened there and the team fight advantage they took. And I think they got the tower in the end, didn't they? But that's some small advantages, some small things that they can take away. But what's really good is it's showing that a single foot out of place means that Infused can win the team fight.
Zodiac's under his tower.
Yeah, under his tower and he gets hooked.
Charm, Spirit Rush, you're dead. Absolutely destroyed off the map. He's got Locket of the Iron Solari as well, but the Void Staff, Luden's Echo, Rabadon's Morellonomicon Ulfrin, that is so big.
What I really love about this as well is that when someone gets caught from Choke, and Alchemist wants to try and turn the fight, he is immediately locked down with the hyperkinetic position reverser. And because Zodiac was caught out, there was no black shield left for him to be given. So Alchemist was basically a sitting duck for that. He had to
Even with the Zhonya's.
Yeah.
Like, he's still, before he can rip walk away, he still gets taken out.
Yeah. The thing is, that he used the Zhonya's obviously just to try and allow him to rip walk away. But you know, you're using a Zhonya's, you're not getting the damage off, and without your damage, there isn't actually any more damage apart from Chewed Up on your side of your team. You know, at least Maokai can provide a good AoE reduction of damage and actually do a fair amount of damage in the later stages of the game himself. Not a ridiculous amount, but probably more consistent than the damage coming out from Mundo.
Yeah, I think the thing about that is, what Infused have said is, if Alchemist jumps in, we're going to kill him. It's exactly what you said. If he rip walks in at all, we're just going to go straight on him, because Chewed Up only has 1 jump.
Yeah.
He can only get away once. Alchemist can jump and jump and jump and jump.
Look, Toaster was trying to bait a massive team fight there, but I rate it 2 out of 8 because it didn't work.
Only 2, man.
Only 2. Didn't work.
Which is better, 6 out of 10 or 2 out of 8? Can you calculate?
I mean, percentage-wise, it's obviously 6 out of 10.
Anyway, we do see Infused grouping up towards the mid lane. They've got a little bit of a gold advantage, 70,000 to 68,000. It's basically negligible at the moment, but all of these players are getting up to about 6,000. Tosa goes in. Right, just was popped there by Zazas. He decides not to engage with that. And vision control is paramount at this point. We see Zodiac placing a pink forward where you wouldn't usually see a pink, just to deny as much vision as possible. Shot Rush does hit Orphan. Good target, takes him down to about 3/4 of his HP, but the charm onto Maxwell, not the target you want. He's still got explosive cast. The shield did come onto him as well. Impaler splitting in the top lane now will Void Rush and join the fray because the Dragon is live. Zazas gets caught with the binding, the hook onto Numlock. There's the charm. Numlock's going to take quite a bit of damage, going down to half his HP, but has saved him. Will pop it as soon as he can. Going to try and run away. Decides not to pop it quite yet. Come on, pop. Pop it.
Choke need to sit back and think, do they really care about this dragon going down? It's 3 dragons to them, 2 dragons to Infused. Are they really bothered about giving this dragon away for the sake of a lost team fight?
The movement speed on Infused is really strong now.
Yeah.
If you can get that movement speed, Toaster, who can engage on Mundo, comes in, he's got the home guards, he's got the TP, here we go. Are we going to see some action? We will in just a minute, unsure. Choke fighting around the river, fighting around the dragon, waiting to see who'll pick it up. Who can push Rodar better? That's the question. It's Skyrim all over again, guys. Tosa trying to get some damage down. Zodiac gets caught with the Acid Hunter. The hook onto Alchemist. Alchemist! Go all in, but there's the Zonius. The True Shot Rush comes out. Orphan's still alive. Tosa gets himself in the middle of the fight, and the box comes down from Wawa. Zodiac already down. It's a double for Zazas. Orphan will get taken out, but that's only Numlock and Maxwell left alive. Chewed Up has had to retreat, and Tosa's going to chase him down. Tosa will pick up the kill. They're going to go onto Numlock. Maxwell says, you're dead.
There's nothing left.
Dead. Mundo is going to run away, and that is such a great team fight from Infused. The hooks are on point, Scoundrel.
Oh, Wawa. You have come up big. Wawa. You have come up big when you needed to come up big. And the entire time with that team fight, the dragon was active, and Infused managed to pick it off at the end. There's nothing more to say about that team fight other than Alchemist got caught out. And that, once Alchemist is down, there is almost nothing left for Choke in terms of damage through the team fight. It's just Ezreal. Chewed Up is then so vulnerable himself that he doesn't want to commit too far to these team fights. And if he does, he's immediately going to get locked up by the rest of the Infused lineup. This is really good play from Infused, and they are taking what looked like a fairly dire situation and turning it on its head.
5,000 gold ahead now. This is the biggest gold advantage they've had in the entire game. They start up Baron, they cleared out the wards. Here comes the TP from Zazas, who's been tanking up for days. Impaler is on the other side of the map, but here comes the Void Rush. Up he pops, and he's going to join the fray now. Numlock is there, doesn't have to TP, but will join the fray. Maxwell coming in as well. What can Numlock do? Can he delay? Can he pull a Maxwell? Can he stop this Baron?
Here comes Maxwell.
Is it Ziggy all over again? Numlock's going to get hooked. They're going to turn onto him, and Toaster is there, but Toaster's tanking the Baron. Explosive cast as well, but it's not going to be enough. They will have to stop the Baron. And Wawa trying to aggro it a little bit more. Zodiac has joined the fight now, and Alchemist is on his way as well. So Infused will back away once more, not quite throwing it at the Baron as we've seen them do in the past. True Shot Rush comes down mid lane just to push up the lane a little bit. The inhibitor respawning for Infused is really good because it means that they can make these plays without having to worry about those super minions.
Yeah, but why are they making these plays? That's what I need to ask. Like, you're going for Baron. You don't exactly have a team that's going to crush Baron in a short amount of time. You don't have a hyper auto-attack based carry. You've got an Urgot. He's not the Baron killing.
To be kidding me.
He's not the Baron killing machine that a Jinx is. They need to be a little bit more careful about when they choose to go for these kind of objectives, because that is just asking to have a throw or a steal, or, and they'll lose a lot of presence on the map for that kind of thing. They very luckily escaped with all of their lives. Toaster was so close to getting taken out. That explosive cast from Maxwell was fantastic. This game is so
it's on a knife edge.
It's 47 minutes in. It's the longest game we've had at the MCM finals so far, and you've got undoubtedly the two best teams going head to head.
It's so close. Everyone hitting those 6-item power spikes, people picking up the elixirs of irons, the elixirs of ruins, the elixirs of elixiring. I can't remember the other name. Sorcery? Sorcery is one of them. Is it brutality?
There's Elixir of Ruin, Elixir of Iron,
Elixir of Sorcery, and then the AD one.
Elixir of Wrath.
Anyway, Infused just going to pick up their buffs. Orphan's taking quite a bit of damage there. He needs to be a little bit careful because he does keep getting chunked out at the start of these team fights. He needs to be dodging those skill shots a little bit more, but Choke trying to set up, seeing what they can do. It's
Alchemist in the bot lane,
gold.
is this something that Infused want to now sort of engage upon?
They've been burnt before, it's Scoundrel. They tried to engage.
I think they're going for it.
Xaxus hasn't quite popped the righteous story yet, but there they go. They're going to try and get us to Numlock. A good binding across the wall from Zodiac will lock up Xaxus. Won't be able to twist it advance in, and Alchemist has come up from that bottom lane. He did push it out. He's got a slow push going there in the bottom lane. Xaxus and Zodiac, the soul shackles onto Xaxus. They decided their target. The tree is the one in the jungle. The Numlock's going to get locked down here with that twisted advance. Toaster takes some damage. You don't want to fight in these positions though if you're Infused, because there's so much from choke that they can do. The charm doesn't land.
Alchemist!
Reversal comes in, but Maxwell's going to explosive cast them all back. The box goes down. Who's going to win? Trick shot for Rush. Over Nexus Spirit dashing into that, but also being picked up. Alchemist and Numlock for the next target. Numlock gets taken out as well. Xaxus jumps in. Maxwell gets hooked. The cards on him. It's not going to be enough. Chewed up. No, don't do that. You can't jump into them. Chewed up. He gets spat out by Infused. Zodiac gets hooked. Go on, Wawa. Look at the hook range. Such long range there by Zodiac. He'll be chasing. He'll be flaying. He'll be damaging. And here comes the rest of Infused to clean up the fight.
If you didn't hear what Sona just said there, basically Infused have just won the game. That was a great team fight, and unfortunately, again, Alchemist in the wrong position at the wrong time, gets hyperkinetic reversed, and Infused knew what they needed to do. They made a couple of trial and error team fights, and right at the end, there's Surrender Vote coming out, but this is the first game going to Infused.
GG! What a game! Infused take the first game of the ESL UK Premiership here. 27 kills to 23. They're 1-0 up in this best of 3. That was absolutely amazing. 82,000 gold to 70. It was 50 minutes. 50 minutes of magic here from Team Infused against Choke Gaming. Choke, who have been dominant the entire time, doing such a good job as they came through the group stages. They've lost their first map machine. They've lost it. Will they be able to come back and get the second and take us to a best of 3 later? I think we're going to pass over to the analyst desk, guys. Take it away.
Thanks very much.